All right, we are live on Zoom, we're live on Facebook, and people are jumping on. I'm super excited about this call. If you missed Tuesday, for the most part, I think I've been able to get the replay out to everybody, but if you've missed it, whether you're in Abundance Unleashed, whether you just know me from some avenue, make sure you reach out to me and ask for the replay, but I've made it available in a few different places. So if you missed that one, definitely go back and watch it, because David, as if you were on that call, it's an incredible learning experience. It's an incredible just in knowledge and information that can truly transform your life. So David and I, we've worked together. He's helped me in so many ways to more than like 10 times my income. And it all starts with how we think. It's all about vibration. It's about self-image. It's about our mindset. It's about our belief and our faith and all these sorts of things. It's so much less about all the technical little bits and pieces that we can often get so wrapped up in. And it's so much about the thoughts and what's going on internally and spiritually. So that has to come first. And instead of putting so much energy into, am I putting my Facebook ad the right way in the right spot, and who am I targeting, all that kind of stuff, that is important, but it's like less than 20% important. The bigger piece is what David is sharing with us yesterday and today and beyond that, right? So if you're feeling stuck in your business, if you're feeling stuck in any area of your life, really, this information is what's going to really change things and turn things around for you. So listen, and take notes, get out that pen and paper and really just absorb. I see you got it there. That's awesome. Absorb this information. And then the recording, go back and listen to it. Repetition is the mother of all learning. So we want to get the information, because don't fool yourself that if I just listen to it once, I've got it. It takes more. It takes more than that. David is so much fun. For those of you who don't know, we met probably over a year ago at an event, a Bob Proctor event. We connected because we both love Conga water, and the rest is history. I worked with him, and I've shared his gift of helping people with others as well. And he's been so gracious to do this second call with us. His time is incredibly valuable. And so we're really blessed to have you, David. And he's going to just take it away and talking on self-image. So David, go for it. You got to unmute yourself.
There you go. I was just shutting Siri off there. Sorry.
Welcome.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it's great to be back among the ACE community, and thanks for having me back, Megan. Yeah, like we said before, or Megan's has touched on it. Megan and I met about a year and a half ago. It seems a hell of a lot longer, but time it's kind of weird. Time is a weird thing. I'm not going to talk about time today, though. Time is weird. It starts to speed up and slow down all at the same time. And you're going to find that if you really jump all in and start to embrace who you really want to be, you're going to find that time actually begins to, I believe, slow down a fair bit. So yeah, Megan and I met about a year and a half ago. And when I first met her, she told a story on the other call, how I told her I could help her start selling Kangen machines. And she believed me. And then therefore she started selling Kangen machines. I'm sure everybody here knows her story. She's went from earning $2,000 a month and have hit a month where she earned over $100,000 in 1 month. And before I go into the self-image stuff that we're going to talk about today, I want you to think about that. Really think about it. How does somebody go from $2,000 a month to over $100,000 a month in 12 months? How do these things happen? They're not that common. Really and truly, it's not that common. So what's changed? How many Kangen reps is there in the world? How many ACE reps is there in the world? So you're going to find that the systems are there for everybody, but it's 95% mindset. And today's call is going to be based on the premise, you do not get what you want. You get who you are. That's the deal. Right? So when you're observing somebody else, the only thing that's different between you and them is that they're accepting ideas that you're rejecting. That's all it is. They've accepted ideas that you've rejected. When I first started working with Megan, and I don't think she'll mind me sharing this story, but if she does, then, well, too bad. So what happened was, I knew that Megan didn't treat herself very well. Low self-worth, low value, really common, okay? I can touch on a little bit of self-worth today with you guys as well, but you're gonna find that your self-worth is controlling your bank account. Okay, and the main problem you're ever gonna face is the lack of your own self-worth. And the reason you don't have self-worth is you don't really understand how incredible you are. We've never been taught it, so how the hell would we know? So what I got Megan to do in her first month, I think she sold 6 machines. So what I got her to do, I got her to start celebrating by blowing a little bit of money. And I told her I wanted her to go and just blow $200. And she fought with me about it. And I said, Megan, just do what I'm telling you to do. All right. And so she came, I asked her, like, I think it was maybe a couple of days later, I said, what did you do with your $200? And she only did $100. So how did, like, I really want to put this in context though. How does a woman go from the inability to spend $200 on her family and herself to have some fun to going over 100,000? I will tell you exactly what happened. She had a self-image change. She began to understand herself a lot better, and therefore that began to change her results. Anybody that ever works with me, I'm very clear with them. I work with causes, I don't work with effects. Okay, the goals you're going after, they're effects. Okay, doesn't take that long to set a goal. Really doesn't. Okay, all you're trying to do is you take something that doesn't exist in your material world and you're going to try and bring it into your material world. That's all the goal is, right? So what we have to understand is that the point of the goal is to grow. It's not to get. So what are we growing into? So a lot of people say, okay, yeah, the point of the goal is to grow, or life's a journey. And these are sorts of sayings or cliches that everybody hears. But what do they really mean? You're going to find that the way that you're going to get the goal is you need to start asking yourself, who is the woman or who is the man that's producing that goal? That is the key. Because like I said before, you do not get what you want, you get who you are. And if you want your life to change, you got to change. And the only place you really and truly need to change is in your own thoughts. You're going to find the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life is change. And what are you doing? You're swapping out one idea for another idea. That's all you're doing. Everybody on this call, we've got different ages, we've got different sexes, right? Everybody on this call is producing different results. Everybody on this call has an opinion on something. The problem is, very rarely does anyone ever stop and say, might I be wrong? Is there a possibility? Is there a possibility that my thinking may be inaccurate? But we don't do that. We are programmed to constantly go this way. Constantly just out, out, out. It's them that did it. They're the reason. And very rarely, if you do that, you know what happens? It's very insidious. When you're constantly looking out, you don't ever have to change. Because if the world's the problem, right, then you have to wait for the world to change. And if you wait for the world to change, you'll be waiting a really long time. Really important. So what I want to do with everybody today is I want to help you construct a self-image of the man or woman that you need to become, right? You need to become in order for you to start producing your goals. Because like I said before, anyone that ever works with me, I work with causes. I don't work with effects. All I need to know is your goal once, then I just start working with you on you. Makes a lot of sense. So that's how Megan, who's involved in ACE and who's involved in Kangen and who's involved in other things, can hit these sorts of levels. The only thing is that she's changed. The woman that I'm talking to is not the woman that you know is not the woman I met. Okay, and here's something totally a little trippy for you. Every single self-image exists inside of you. It's the one that you focus on that'll grow. You're an infinite being, and it all exists. It's the one that you're going to create. So who is this woman? How does she walk? How does she talk? Is she a leader? If she is, what kind of leader is she? How does she dress? What kind of car does she drive? How much money does she earn? What kind of home does she live in? What kind of relationships does she have? What kind of friendships does she have? Really importantly, what kind of conversations does she have? Right? Is she a goal setter or a goal achiever? Does she live in a state of hope and wish, or does she demand abundance and prosperity? Right? Does she take full responsibility, or does she have the habit of blaming others? And a really, really big one is, does she understand, not just intellectually, because intellectually, everybody's going to agree with what I'm about to say. Does she understand, not just intellectually, but emotionally, that she becomes what she thinks about? And this goes for guys too. It's the same thing. Who is she? So we have the habit of constantly looking at people that have success and thinking, oh man, I wish that was me. Well, it could be you. And I think too many of us, we listen to people, but we don't ever observe them. We really don't observe their behavior. You'll learn a lot more from observing people's behavior than you do from what they say. There's a saint, Saint Francis of Assisi said, teach the people, and if you absolutely have to, use words. You got to observe their movement, how they show up, what's their energy like. Okay, and here's a little pointer for everybody, a little gift. If you're ever experiencing fear in your life, it's because you're thinking about yourself. And the second you start thinking about other people that you're going to serve, that's real leadership. Leadership is not a title, it's a mindset. And I may have went into that on the last call about, did I go into that about principles and stuff? Catholic principles, did I do that? Yeah, right. Yeah, leadership's it's not a title, it's a mindset. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about, because everybody here is an ace and trying to create multiple streams of income, and I'm going to assume, okay, I'm just going to assume something, that a lot of us are just starting out and we're trying to take ourselves to the next level. Or some of us have been doing it for a while and we want to take ourselves to the next level. Okay, we're always wanting to expand all the time. Okay, so there's three kinds of income. There's time for money. Three kinds of ways to earn money. There's time for money, there's money for money, okay, and there's multiple sources of income. So what I want everyone on this call to do is I want you to write down, you don't have to share it with us, I want you to write down how much money you earn on average a month. Okay? Now, what I want you to do beside it, okay, time for money, 96% of people in this world trade time for money. I give you an hour, you give me $10. I give you 2 hours, you give me $20. I give you 3 hours, you give me $30. Okay, 96% of the world is programmed to earn money that way. So there's a really high probability that you're part of the 96% group when it comes to paradigm and self-image. Okay, so there's a really high probability that you are wired up to trade time for money. Okay, then about 3% of people earn it money for money. Okay, that's a whole other world. I personally don't want to get involved in it. It's like a lifetime of study and trying to figure out the stocks, and it's just not for me. Okay, might be for you, but it's not for me. Okay, and then the third way is multiple sources of income. Okay, that's where you provide service without your presence. A really simple one would be like real estate. If you own a bunch of properties and you're renting out those properties, well, there's a whole bunch of people getting warm place and roof over their head, and you're providing that service, so you get the money. Right? That's a simple one. Multi-level marketing and affiliate marketing, lots of things where you start providing service beyond your physical presence. Also, business owners do the same, except usually what a business owner does is they usually sell time for money. If it's like a plumbing company, they'll sell other plumbing services, which is based on time usually, right? And then you have the other one, which is product based. Okay, so you're going to have time for money, money for money, and multiple source of income. Now, what I want everyone to do, beside where they wrote how much money they earned, I want them to write how did you earn that money? Was it time for money for money, or multiple source of income? All right, Nathan, you want to jump on?
Yes, sir.
All right, Nathan, how did you earn your money last month?
I'm a little bit of all three, to be honest.
Okay, so your time for money, money for money, and multiple source of income?
Yes.
Okay, stay with us, would you? Okay, Audra, how did you earn your income last month?
Time for money.
Time for money. Okay. Does that make you feel bad or something?
A little.
Don't let it make you feel bad. Don't let it make you feel bad. Christelle?
Yes.
Is it Christelle?
Yes, it's Christelle. And I'm not a member of ACE.
Okay, that's okay. It's a
Yeah.
nice name.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Time for money for money, or multiple source of income?
Right now, I am at home with my boys.
Okay.
So none of the above. But before, I used to do time for money.
You should do time for money. Okay, so if you go back to, you're doing probably more work than anybody else. Yeah, you are. How old are your boys?
So one will be 4, and the other one is a year and a half.
Oh yeah, you got like 18 years left of like triple
Yeah.
time.
But I'm ready. I'm totally ready to go back. I'm, thinking about it. I can't stop
Well,
thinking
you want to
about it.
create. That's what's happening. You want to create something.
Totally. Yeah, it's time. Yeah.
Right. So there's a probability that you're probably your mind is thinking to go back to some sort of job that creates time for money, correct?
No,
you're changing.
yes.
What's your mind changing to?
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I want to share my big goal. Will take some time to explain, but in the end, what I want to do is help people. My big vision is to everybody's gonna laugh, but yeah, eventually have some sort of a foundation, like to give back. That's my end goal. But to get there, I know I have baby steps to get into the philanthropy world and learn all about it.
You'd be
really
surprised. Yeah.
Okay, so that's my big goal, and I know there's a ton of steps to get there. But yeah, multiple sources of income are.
Well, you don't know there's tons of stuff to get there.
No. Okay.
Because there might not be.
So and the self-image thing is totally something that I need to work on in order to believe that I can attain this, and on my own account, because indirectly it will be our family's wealth,
right.
AKA, my husband's obviously on the path of doing some amazing things, and I am a great resource and a great partner, and you know what I mean? I bring value to that business as well. So it's finding my way, and in the end, this is what my goal will be, to help people.
It's a really good goal. I like your goal.
Okay.
You've never done it before, so don't assume that it's going to take lots of baby steps.
Okay.
Don't just assume that. Just accept the idea.
Yep.
Okay. Right. So we have Christelle that used to when she earned money was time for money. And we have Audra that currently is trading time for money. Okay. And then we have Nathan, who's in all three. Okay. Now, Nathan, you want to hop back on with us for a sec?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Okay. So Nathan, when you first started to earn money, what category were you in?
Time for money.
You're in time for money.
Yep.
Interesting. And now, what happened to move you into all three categories? Tell us the story.
Biggest thing is mindset.
Where did you find that mindset? What happened? Something changed.
I've been studying for 4 years, probably. I've been Bob Proctor student, all kinds of things. Just reading, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, just having an end, like you said, having an end result, knowing what you want. When you don't know what you want, you can't get you can never get there. So I think definitely been a gradual process. You know, it doesn't happen overnight, that's for sure. You know, you have these ideas, and I think a lot of times you have a goal, sort of like Christelle just said, but you don't need to know how to get there. You just need to know what the goal is, and then things begin to happen.
Right. So the only thing that changed was you used to not know how, your awareness was different.
Yes.
That's it. In simplest form.
Yes.
Your awareness prior was time for money.
Yep.
Now your awareness has shifted, where you're in all three. So you became aware of something. Either someone taught you something, or you heard something. Now books teach you, or speakers teach you, or Bob's taught you, or else you've bumped into someone else along the path that's taught you something different too.
Right.
So the only difference between Nathan in whenever, I don't know, 2005, I don't know, whenever the hell, and now is the only thing different is awareness.
Yes.
So why would somebody, let's say Audra, why would you feel bad about not being aware of something? Like, do you know what the temperature is in my city tonight?
No.
Does that make you feel bad?
No.
Why don't you know?
Because we're ignorant.
Because you're not aware.
Exactly.
And you don't have a desire to know the temperature in my city. Now, you probably have a stronger desire to know the temperature in your own. Be pretty accurate, right? Yeah. So why would we ever be aware, or why would we ever feel bad about not being aware of something? If 96% of the world came out of a certain paradigm, and a paradigm is a multitude of habits. Culture is actually just group paradigm. It's just group habit. It's so precise that I've talked with people all over the world. I've talked with thousands of people. And if I know what country you're from, I know your paradigms. How insane is that? If I know what city you're from, I've got a pretty good grasp. If you're in North America, I've got a pretty good grasp on your paradigm. The worst shaped countries, that I've ever seen is Eastern Europe. Okay. And the Quebecois are actually in Canada, if you're from that province. Now, I'm not saying that to like keep those places up. I'm just telling you based on the paradigm. It's the culture. So why would we ever beat ourselves up? Just something so simple. You wouldn't beat yourself up if you didn't know what temperature my city was. So why would you beat yourself up not knowing other things? Now, the only thing that you need to change, there's only two things. One, you need to have a very strong desire. Really strong desire. You've got a desire to go somewhere else more than where you are. And where you are may not be that bad. You'll see people change faster from rock bottom to this jump than you will from these people that are comfortable and have created it to the next level, because they're comfortable. You have to get to the point where your behavior is unacceptable. And you might have some pretty damn good behavior and pretty damn good habits. And you might even have some pretty damn good results. When the point of goal is not to get, it's to grow. And you're a spiritual being, you have an intellect, and you live in a physical body. Your intellect is designed to tap into a higher spiritual side of yourself. So you go in with the imagination, you start designing this person in your mind, and then this is where the rubber hits the road. You demand yourself to live like them. Right? I talked about it on the other call where I said, your goals have to like short circuit your thinking, make your little brain go woo, and then has to challenge your belief system, right? And then the third thing is has to make you uncomfortable. But you are not going to feel discomfort truly till you have to take action. You won't. Now, I want to thank you for sharing, Christelle, as well. And I want anyone that shares, I want to thank you because you help a lot of people, and I actually can help you better if you share. Okay. Sometimes I'm direct and it might sting a little bit, but it's for you. All right. You see how Christelle, she just assumed it would be a certain way. You could start a foundation tomorrow. You could. I know a lady that started a foundation. All she did was just start putting on a little workshop for kids. She had 12 kids in 1 year. That's all she did. And this year she has 400 kids going through a little leadership workshop. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. Who do you want to serve? Who do you want to serve with your foundation, Christelle?
Sorry, I'm unmuting myself. Do you want to know exactly?
Who you want to serve? Yeah, what people?
That's what I'm trying to pinpoint. There's so many areas that I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's out in Nunavut, out in the Arctic.
Is that where you are?
Sorry, no, it's not. I'm in Winnipeg. I'm from the same city as Megan.
Oh, cool.
And
Go Bombers.
Sorry?
Go Bombers. Blue Bombers, right? Isn't that their name?
Oh yeah, Go Bombers. Yeah. So basically bringing more infrastructure up there.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't have a lot. They don't have many good quality homes, or a lot of mines are up there, and a lot of the workers don't have appropriate lodging. And so coming up with a way to do it as a nonprofit. Kind of like, I don't know if you know Habitat for Humanity.
I got an idea for you. On an idea?
Yes.
All right. Make a little speech about it and go start sharing it with people.
Okay. Sharing it with my friends, my family, or
no, like
in a big way.
Like, yeah.
Okay.
Like, go inject yourself into some sort of, go talk to your MLA, or whoever just got voted in, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Start taking action. Make room for the good you desire.
Okay.
Or else you'll get stuck in a theoretical state.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm focusing on my mind, so I'm meditating, and I'm.
Well, don't meditate too much. Meditate for a little bit, and then you get to work.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Meditate for 20 minutes. You can do a lot in 20 minutes. Meditation. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. So the rubber hits the road when you have to take action. Like, I've talked with people that are, they're like, I'm like, what do you want to do? And they're like, what's your goal? I was like, oh man, I want to be a speaker, man. You want to speak? Yeah. I like it. I could just see myself like 10,000, 50,000 people, sold out stadium. Wow. That sounds good. Okay. And then they won't even do a speech at their local community center because they're afraid. So you can live in a theoretical state all day long. Setting goals is so fun. It's so fun. Visualizing them, ooh, it's so nice. I love it, and it works. But you got to do the work. You got to start changing. So if anyone here like starts upping their price or something, I don't know if we're, just an example. Like, let's say someone's charging $10,000 or $2,000 for something, they want to start charging $5,000 because they feel that they're better. And then, they get on that first presentation, or they get there, something like that. And then they're like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. It's 2. Oh God, it's 2. It's just 2.
Can I share something real quick, David?
Sure.
I've got a quote for you, Christelle, and probably a couple other people on here too. It's actually a Bible verse that I don't know where it came from, but your gift will make room for you and place you before great men.
Yeah, it's all about the action. It's the action reaction.
The action, because I can tell you, I just met you over this video and all that. And you do have a gift. I could see your heart coming through here. You're going to do really wonderful, just in case you didn't know that.
So what you want to do, and I don't know if anybody did that from the last call. Thanks, Mike. What you want to do, and I don't know if anybody did it from the last call, was you get that 5-year vision down. Okay, that's what you want to construct your self-image off. That's where you want to go when you're constructing a self-image. Okay, and I'm going to tell you something even more nuts. Once you start to construct the self-image, you can start to mentor yourself. I can say, okay, future Dave, like you've been where I want to go. You've done the things that I want to do. What would you do? Well, let me tell you, Sonny. And then Big Dave tells me. It's all in your own imagination. You already know. You have a perfect system. You have a thing called an intuition. Now, your 6 higher faculties, perception, reason, imagination, will, and intuition, are resonant in your conscious mind. The problem is that your subconscious mind. Okay, so I'm gonna go this way for a little bit. Your conscious mind is your intellectual mind. Okay, that's where the intellectual faculties are. Even intuition. That might confuse some of you because intuition is very feeling based. Okay, but your intuition is resonant in your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind is your emotional mind. Very important to understand that. Okay, because feeling is a word that we've invented to describe the vibration we're in. And it's your conscious thoughts that control the vibration you're in. So what starts to happen is, as you start to step out your paradigm, you and I become what we think about. The problem is we become what the paradigm thinks about. Okay? So what starts to happen is your subconscious mind, your paradigm will hijack your thinking mind. So Christelle she's not that clear. And the reason, we're starting to get to know a little better, but she's not that clear. How do I know she's not that clear? Because I don't have a clear mental picture in my mind of what she wants. And if I don't have a clear mental picture in my mind of what she wants, that means she doesn't have a clear mental picture in her mind because she hasn't transferred it to me. So you want to get your goal and you want to get your person right down to like one sentence. You want to be able to paint a picture in everybody's mind of what you want. Okay? So whenever I talk with people, very, 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 very vague and misty conceptions of their goal, but they're crystal clear on what they don't want. And I might have said something on their call, but we could all get a PhD in thinking about things we don't want. Like a doctorate, double doctorate in thinking about shit we don't want. Why would we think about things we don't want? Because we're programmed to think about things we don't want. And what's going to happen is you're going to have 2 things that you battle with all the time. You're going to have desire, which is that spiritual thing that it wants to express. And you're going to have another little thing called duty. I should do this. So what's happened to Christelle is that her conscious mind, let's say she wants to do the foundation thing. So her paradigm hijacks her reasoning faculty and starts to tell her how it's going to be. Well, you got to take baby steps, girl. You know how it is. What? You never even did it before. Well, you know, though. Baby steps. That's not true. Especially if you and I become what we think about. So a big habit I'm going to ask everybody to start to form is I want everybody to form up the habit of asking yourself more questions. As soon as you catch yourself assuming something, ask a question. Really powerful habit. Because what it's going to do is it's going to start catching your paradigm out. Right? Because we can rationalize bullshit all day long. You can justify, you have reasons why, everybody in this call has reasons why life is the way it is, why you're earning the amount of money you're earning. There's all these reasons why, but they're not the real reason. The real reason is you. Think about this. Do you know one person that doesn't have reasons why they live the way they live and think the way they think? You know one person that doesn't have an opinion on things. Think about it. You could go home, or maybe you're home now, probably are. You could go to your neighbor's house and say, hey, Jimmy, why do you live here? And you're like, well, because. Well, tell me the story, and he'll tell you. Why do you drive that car? Why'd you get a Ford Focus and not a Kia Cilantro or whatever? Because we like that one, or we could afford it. Why aren't you driving a Lamborghini? Oh, wow, I don't want a Lamborghini. Yeah, you probably do though. You could bring over an ML like a real estate listing thing to him and say, pick 5 houses that you'd rather live in. He could pick 5. Unless he's a bullshitter and he's really stubborn and said, no, this is it. This is it. Don't want nothing. Because there's only one primary law you need to get in harmony with, and it's the law create or disintegrate. You're either growing or dying. Okay? So think about it. Every person you know has reasons why they live the way they live, why they think the way they think, and why life is the way it is. And it's really easy for us to observe. Like, I want everybody right now, you don't have to share it, okay? You don't have to share the person, but I want everybody right now, either it's a coworker, a family member, a friend, someone in your life that isn't doing that good, and you know why they're not doing that good. But they don't know. For some reason, you can see it, but they can't see it. So let's think about ourselves. Is there a chance that our thinking might be distorted? Is there a chance? Is there, not there is it possible? Is it possible that our level of awareness is controlling our entire life? Is that possible? Okay, and there's only 2 ways you're ever going to shift a paradigm or a self-image. One is an emotional impact. Something happens in your life, boom, changes you. You can think back right now and you'll be able to pinpoint one right on the end of your finger. Something happened in your life, emotional, that changed, like just really shook you. You could bring a memory back just like that. Okay, and then the other one is repetition of thought. Repetition of thought combined with elite level coaching over an extended period of time through systematic study. Okay, that's why someone can go to an event or a sales training and they can go up and everybody's rah, 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 and they run on that energy for 2 weeks and then they fizzle out and it's business as usual. Or maybe you get in a fight with your spouse and you guys, it goes, and then you guys like don't talk to each other for a little bit and then you love each other. So you get over it pretty quick. And then everything's kind of cool. And then like 3 weeks later, it's like, I told you, why do you keep doing that? Because the emotional doesn't stick. That's what it is. It doesn't stick. I'm going to tell you something even more insane. When you go to an event, all that's happening is they're transferring energy into your subconscious mind. And you're running off that energy for an extended period of time. But the problem is, when you remove a motivator and you don't have a clearly defined motive, you're going to find you're done. Once the motivator is removed and you don't have a motive, the root word of motivation is motive. And there's a lot of people try to reconcile their goals. They try and reconcile them. They try and take their goals and squeeze them into some sort of belief system. And they don't go anywhere. You have to abandon it. You literally have to start to just let go of who you are if you really want to be the person you say you want to be. If you want to do the things you say that you want to do, then that's what you have to that's what has to happen. Now, if you don't have a burning desire, then the chances are you'll never change. And I'm not saying that to be mean, like, oh, who's this prick? No, I'm just telling you the truth. You know, and without desire, you're going to find you want to protect your desire. It's like a flame, like it keeps you alive. Every day you have to restoke it. And you ask anybody, I'm going to tell you something. It is harder to be winning and to maintain a winning attitude. It's way easier when your back's against the wall to like have, you know, sink or swim stuff and then to push out. You'll find that people jump very fast when they're in that situation. Now, I'm not recommending anybody do this, but I do it to myself. I actually just put myself in sticky situations where I got to sink or swim. Because you get really creative in that state. Really creative. Right? So you're going to find that a lot of times, once the motivator is removed and you don't have a clearly defined motive, and this goes back to the first call, okay? And if you haven't watched it, I'd recommend you go back and watch it. And I recommend you go back and watch it like 30 times. Because you'll pick new stuff up every time. It's packed, and I talk very fast. Okay? So what's going to happen is once you remove the motivation force, you're going to find that without a strong motive, you're not going to change very much. So desire is the key for all change. Your goals are the key for all change. Right? And that's when you can start to let yourself go. Start to say, man, what? Like, why? Could I be wrong? Who is that woman? You know, like, hey, Big Megan, like, what do you think about all this? And she'll tell you, man. Because inside you're perfect. So anyone that ever works with me, there's a golden rule. You are not allowed to let your goals make you feel bad. It's all in just lack of awareness. That's it. And if Nathan really gets his desire levels way up, he can get right out of time for money. But its desire level will dictate the speed of which he does it. Now, he's got a very strong reasoning faculty, very strong intellectual reasoning faculty. It's good for service stuff, but it's actually limiting him a lot. He got the brakes on a little bit. Too long. He's got to get into the spirit of it. He's actually got to give himself permission to go in, to let himself get emotionally involved in what he wants. And you have to start giving yourself permission to do it too. You have to start letting yourself get emotionally involved in the man or woman that you want to be. All right. So what you do is you go out the 5-year, construct the self-image. And like I said, I gave a list to you: walk, talk, dress, act, friends, conversations. Are they a leader? Do they have a team around them? What kind of team? What's the culture? What's the atmosphere? On and on and on it goes. Get really deep into it. Then you can start going into their mindset. How fast do they make decisions? What's their attitude? You know, do they really understand that they're the central point of their entire life? Do they get that? Right? Are they supporting cast, or are they the star of the show? And I'd recommend that everybody should become the star of your own show in your own life. I think a lot of us just play second fiddle. It's really common amongst ladies. Really common, but it's a paradigm. You know. Okay, so you construct it, and then what you do is you can start writing it out every day. And then the key is you demand yourself to live like them. That's the key. You have to demand yourself to live like them. You know, when you go to book that airline ticket and you're like, man, I want to go first class. Hey, Big Dave, do you fly first class? Yes, I do. Fuck. Now I gotta fucking fly first class. Hey, Big Dave, like, what kind of car do you drive? Well, I drive a Jaguar. Oh, fuck, now I gotta buy a Jaguar. Did you pay for it in full, or did you take payments? I paid for it in full. Oh. This is what happens. And I will tell you, it is like throwing gasoline on an already well-lit flame. This is the real deal. You ever notice, like, it's an infinite power, it's an infinite intelligence, or an infinite power. Some might use God, spirit, whatever your persuasion is there. Okay, it's infinite though, but for some reason it caps us. It doesn't cap Megan, but it does cap me. Interesting. Very interesting. Right? I had this one client that I asked him, I said, do you believe that there's a power greater than yourself? And he's like, oh yeah. And I was like, oh, do you believe that this power will give you everything you want? He's like, no question. I was like, that's cool. And I was like, well, what's your goal? And he's like, well, my goal is to make 2 sales every day. And at that time, that would make him about $5,000 to $10,000 a day. Okay, if he was making 2 sales a day. And I was like, all right. And I said, well, how many sales did you make this month? He's like, 1. And this was like way into the month. I said, okay, but your goal's 2 a day. And he's like, yeah, 2 a day. And I was like, all right. I said, well, do you believe that this power will give you 2 sales a day? And he's like, yeah. I said, that's really interesting because your behavior and results would reflect that you don't. Consciously, you can believe something. Subconsciously, totally different story. It's like, who here would like to jump out of an airplane? For some reason, I had this desire for a little bit. I got rid of it real quick, though. Okay, Megan does. You want me to tell you how to get rid of that desire? Just think about your kids. It's not worth it. That's how I got rid of it. I just killed it off. So if you got a desire to jump out of an airplane, that's a desire. It's in there. It's a want. But it's a totally different story if Megan actually goes, books it, which might be scary, and then she gets in the plane and then she has to jump out of it. Like, I don't know. I remember I went to Vegas and I forget, what's that one with the roller coaster on it? What's that one?
New York.
Yeah, New York. I was not thinking. I hate rides. I hate all that stuff. I'm getting old now. And I remember I got in there, me and my brother-in-law, SJ, and wife and sister-in-law, and I get in the roller coaster, and then we're going. I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. And then we started like going up, and I was like, this was the stupidest thing. Like, I hated it. But I wasn't thinking. I thought it was going to be fun, but it wasn't fun. It was a nightmare. God, I hate roller coasters. Right? So a lot of times what you'll do is you'll start getting feedback when you start taking action. Outside that, you're just living in a state of hope and wish. Wouldn't it be nice to jump out of an airplane? Well, Megan, go jump out of one. Record it, please. And let us know if you want to do it again.
Sounds good.
You probably will. They're like junkies, those people. Airplane junkies. I bet you that's a flight. I bet you that's a jump school. The airplane junkies. Somewhere in the world, there's airplane junkies for sure. Okay? So that's what you want to do, but you have to demand yourself to do it. That's the difference. Outside that, you're living in a state of hope and wish, and it's really easy to stay in a hope and wish, and it's really easy to become dependent on personal development to make yourself feel better, and it's really easy to just lean on people, and it's really easy to lean on groups. It's really easy to do this stuff. But there's a big compensation difference between a leader and a follower. And if you want to start making a big change in your income, I will tell you right now, you better start becoming a leader. Big difference in compensation. Okay? Any questions? All good?
I'm just checking here. Just a lot of awesome. So good. Love that. Thank you. Thank you. Always such good feedback. One of the questions, I have a question. So when currently, I just want you to reiterate again how to instill the self-image of the person that is who you want to be. So for example, right now, say I'm a person, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm comparing myself to a couple years ago, stay-at-home mom, making $2,000 is more like $1,000 a month, actually, David. You keep talking me up saying I was making $2,000, but I was making about $1,000 a month.
Okay, we have 100xer.
Yeah. So and just sloppy, bad hair, like low self-image, whatever. I'm just giving an example. And I have a desire to be able to be free, to travel, to go where I want to go, fly class I want to fly, all that kind of stuff. And I haven't experienced life as the person I want to be. How do I bridge that gap between where I am and who I want to become?
Okay, so the mind knows no time and space. In the world of the mind, everything is now. Okay, if you watch a scary movie, you're gonna feel it. Okay, anybody here ever been like lying in bed and maybe like your hubby or you're alone or something? You're like, oh, like what sound is that? And you're like scared, and you can like feel it, and your like mind's ripping, thinking maybe someone's in the house or something, and you're like scared, but there's no one in the house, right? So your mind only knows now. Okay. So what I started getting Megan to do, and I'm sure she'll remember this. Like I told her, when she's sweeping the floor, you act like that woman. Okay. When you're with your kids, you act like her. You have to design her first, but you force yourself to act like her. And you do it in everything you do. And I will tell you, you will start to light a fire inside of you. And then you will start to attract things into your life. Now, people think the law of attraction is mainly on the physical thing. Oh, you won't believe what clients I attracted today. Or, oh man, you wouldn't even believe if I told you. Right? The first place the law of attraction starts is based on the law of vibration. But the first place is in thought. Once you allow your mind to go out to a specific place, you will find yourself, you will start to attract all of the thoughts that are in harmony with that thought. But like poor Christelle, her paradigm's already saying baby steps, Christelle. You know what that's really saying? You don't have to do very much. And you don't have to even do it that fast. And if you do make a step, just make a little bitty one. And the paradigm's setting her goals. If you don't watch it, your paradigm will actually set your goals for you. And there's 3 kinds of goals. There's A type, B type, and C type. A type goals that are things that you know you can do. You already know how to do that, right? B type goals are doing something you think you can do. This is where you get really intellectual. You're like, well, you know, if I refi this and I move this money over here and then I got this really sweet plan to accomplish this, and that's a B type. That's something you think you can do. And then there's a C type where it's just something you want to do. The only criteria you ever need for goal setting is, do I want it? Do I want it? And the second you find yourself trying to reconcile something, get rid of it. And you start trading. You have to make space for the good you desire. Like, I cannot put this pen where this computer is until I move the computer. It's called the vacuum law of prosperity. Things cannot occupy in the same space. What I mean by get rid of it, Kathy, is you need to have a crystal clear goal. So once you start having thoughts outside, or you start feeling that intellectual reasoning faculty start ripping, you can switch it into the image of your goal. Does that make sense? But you have to have something that you're going to switch it to. So the second you start, acting, second I start acting like existing Dave, or the second Megan started acting like existing Megan, I told her to replace it with the new Dave. And start replacing it with the new Megan. Even though maybe on the outside world, you still have all the same duties and responsibilities. Like, Christelle, when she's wiping a butt tonight, she can still be that kick-ass woman that's helping the none of it. She can. Because her mind has no restriction. But she's going to take a lot of will and a lot of desire to prevent her from getting emotionally involved in wiping a kid's butt and pretending she's like the queen of none of it. It takes a lot of will. Like whenever I want a new car, all I do, folks, is I just imagine myself in the car I want, even when I'm driving my other one. That's all I do. So when I went and got my Jaguar, like all I did was just, every time I got my truck, I just pretended it was a Jaguar. That idea sat in my mind for 3.5 years. That idea sat in my mind for 3.5 years. And I told it to Bob Proctor, and he said to me, why don't you just go do it?
Yep.
And I had the car in 3 months. Most people don't go to the dealership. They don't go test the car. I thought I wanted a car called a Jaguar, and I'm not telling you this to impress you. Okay? I thought I wanted a car called a Jaguar F-Type. That was what was in my head for 3 and it used to be on my goal cards. But it was all just hope and wish shit. And then I went and test drove one, and I didn't even like it. And then when I came back, the lady had a car called an XKR, and then I tried that one, and I loved it. And then I bought that one. So I'm walking around for 3.5 years thinking I want a car that I don't even like. But it's only because he told me to go to the dealership that I get feedback that I could switch the Desire. Really interesting. Your mind is the source of all poverty and all riches. Everything comes through the imagination, everything in your life. The problem is we don't know how to control the flow. And you'll never control the flow unless you have a desire to move from where you are to where you want to go. Now, this call is really fun. I've had a great time. I'm sure everybody else had a great time. But I'm going to recommend you start taking action and start going into repetition all over and over and over. People in your house might think you're a deluded maniac. What the hell is he doing? Like writing that shit? What are you writing in that paper all the time? Or like you're walking around like, just like, oh, hang on, man. Hang on, man. I'm going to read that gold card quick. Who is this guy? But you'll start winning because you'll start altering your vibration. So it's 95% mindset. You can learn the strategy very quick. So what's the difference? How can there be 20 real estate agents in a brokerage in the same city, and they're all first, second, right through 20th? One's working at Home Depot at night, and the other one's making millions of dollars. Same economy, same training. And time has nothing to do with it. It is a factor, but it's not the only factor. Because I know people that have been doing shit for 2 years that are making more money than people doing it for 20 years. And lots of them aren't even that smarter. I got 3 minutes.
We need more than that because I'm just going to give us a few more.
Right.
Nathan wanted to say something, and I have another question in the chat. So Nathan, go for it.
You're fine. I was just going to say that I've been visualizing a Tesla for 3.5 years, and I ordered it 3 weeks ago. So, and the hardest part of it is ordering it. Visualizing it is easy. It's fun. It's exciting. Test driving it. But again, that paradigm is holding me back a little bit. But yes, I ordered it 3 weeks ago. So
and it's still there.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I say? I get a little vulgar sometimes, all right? So if it offends you, I apologize.
Go ahead.
You know what I say? Fuck the paradigm.
Amen.
I'm serious. It's always going to be there. It will always be there. Get used to it. It's always going to be with you. It's always going to be wanting to hold you in place. And it's going to throw a lot of really good reasons why. A lot of really good reasons. Get used to it. The key is to not allow it to make your decisions. That's the key. Good for you, man. Post a pic when you get it.
When you're talking about asking ourselves more questions, are you referencing the new future self?
No. You right now. Why do I do the things I do? Why are the things the way they are? What if it was different? Who is that woman? What kind of woman would I have to be? If I could, what would I like to do? How much money would I like to earn? You just get in the habit of asking yourself questions because you're a spiritual being, so you already have all the answers. That's what your intuition's for. The intuition, you'll get an idea and then it'll harmonize. The problem is too many times, I'd say 95% of people confuse their fear and anxiety with intuition. Oh, I don't feel good about this, so I shouldn't do it. Okay.
And just to close off, so I want to bring something back out that David mentioned in briefly when he was speaking, and when it was the concept of when we see somebody else that's struggling and we know why they're struggling, but they don't see it themselves, and put yourself in the position of that person that you see why they're struggling and why they're not getting to where they want to go, but they can't see it themselves. So mentally put yourself in that place, because no matter how amazing you are or what you know or what you've succeeded at or how much money you're making, there's still somebody that is at a higher awareness than you are. It will never end.
Yeah, imagine what they see in you. Like, I always think too, whenever I'm around Bob, I just feel exposed.
Yeah, David wanted me to share some of my calls and stuff that I do, and I wouldn't do it. I didn't want him to see, because you feel exposed, because I know that he's further down the journey and he knows more than me, and he's going to see areas where I need to improve and stuff that I'm doing that I could be doing better. So all of us have goal. Everybody, if you wouldn't be on this call if you didn't want something more, if you weren't wanting to achieve something that maybe you're struggling to achieve. So the value of having somebody who sees what you don't see. Because how are you supposed to figure out how to get to where you want to go, or what's limiting you if you can't see it?
Yeah, all a mentor does is shorten the time frame.
Right.
You have to have a desire. And a lot of us, like, I've shared this with many people, but there's two kinds of goal setting. There's one kind of goal where it's like a heat-seeking missile, or it's like a airplane's going to go from New York to Los Angeles. It knows where it is and it knows where it's going. And it might course correct 1,000,000 times along the way, but it's going to land in LA. 9,999,000 out of 1,000,000 times. It's going to land there. It course correct a zillion times, but it'll get there. There's another one. So if I said to Megan, okay, Megan, I'm going to put an object in a dark room. Okay. And I want you to go in there, and I'm going to close the door, and it's pitch black. I say, find the object and then bring it out. So she knows that there's something in the room. She doesn't know what it is, and she doesn't know where it is. Most of us are in the dark room. You know that there's something inside. You know it. It's your nature. It's your nature to express to a greater degree, to improve. That's what we're wired up to do. Okay, everything else in the universe works by law. So do we. The only difference is we get to choose the vibratory rate of where we go. That's the only difference. If you go back in the Bible, it says, you get dominion over land and sea. Well, really what it is, you get dominion over altering the vibration. Like a deer, just a deer. Like a deer's, like your kitty tonight's not going to have like a 3-course meal ready for you when you get home. Right? So we're creative like that.
So in our last call after that, I had a lot of people, reaching out to me asking, how do I get more of this information? How do I get more connected? How do I find more from David? So again, I just want to offer that to everybody here. I have the link from before to David's calendar. I know that he's got a huge heart, and he offers basically to be that person that can see what you're not seeing. And that's when I was in that place where I just couldn't see all the stuff that was in my way. I was in the dark room, and all this stuff was in my way to where I wanted to go. And when David showed it to me, I was like, I was free. Like I could just go, and I could go to that next level. And it continues. Now I've hit this goal, but David will be like, he'll open my awareness to something more so that I can go to the next level. So I have the link here. If you do want to connect with David, I've dropped it in the chat, and I will also put it here on the Facebook Live. Even if you book this call, you will be amazed what you can experience in 30 minutes. And some of the people on here have already chatted with David, and their minds have been blown. So take advantage of it. Take advantage what he's offering, and it's incredible. It'll blow your mind. So we are already past the hour, so I'm not going to ask for any more questions, but I just want to express my gratitude to you, David, for being on here again. I know everybody on here has been impacted in a positive way. So thank you so much. And thank you to all of you for spending your evening with us. And lots of gratitude on Facebook and from people on Zoom here. So it's been a blessing once again. And we'll hopefully get David back again sometime in the future.
Yeah.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Megan.
Very welcome. Yeah. Thanks, Megan.
Thank you.
Thanks. Nice to meet everybody and see everybody again. Hopefully you got some from the call. Yeah, if you want to go further or explore something further or talk to me for 30 minutes, then just book yourself a call in there. All right. Awesome.
Thanks so much, guys. And thank you, David.
Do better.
Good night.
Be better. Bye, guys.